Good afternoon. It's a sunny day here in Binghamton. It's cold, it's a little snowy, but gotta expect that. This is November. I have a little question for you today that revolves around being an entrepreneur. And the question is, how hard is it to be an entrepreneur? I mean, haven't you been taught how hard this is going to be? And so when you get to all those obstacles, well, that's just part of the game, folks. Well, if you've been taught that, we're going to turn that on its head today, because my guest today on Smart Woman Conversations, this is Yvonne DeVita, and my guest today is Debbie Allen, and we're going to talk about her book, Success is Easy. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. I'm glad we met each other online and that I'm here with you today. And thanks for promoting the book. I'm excited that we can get the word out.
Yes. And so before we start talking about the message in the book and all that kind of thing, I can't rave enough about it. But before, let me tell people a little bit about you. Here we go. So you're an author. We already know that. And you were able to achieve success easily with any business idea that you set your mind to since becoming an entrepreneur at the young age of 19.
Yes, 19. I bought my first business at 19, yes.
So this just blows my mind. I mean, at 19, I would never even have thought about it. I was brought up to get a job, so that's what I did. Since then, she has built and sold numerous million-dollar companies in diverse industries. Her extensive business building wisdom and entrepreneurial insight has allowed her to overcome countless business obstacles and challenges along her journey. She's the award-winning entrepreneur and recipient of the Blue Chip Enterprise Award presented by the National Chamber of Commerce for overcoming business obstacles and achieving fast business growth. After building and selling multiple retail stores, Debbie started her professional speaking and business consultant company, which focuses on helping small business owners and entrepreneurs create fast business growth. Since starting her speaking and writing career, Debbie has inspired and educated thousands of people around the world and has presented in 28 countries. This part is really phenomenal here, Debbie. This part coming up. Debbie is a best-selling author of 9 books, including Confessions of Shameless Self-Promoters, Skyrocketing Sales, The Highly Paid Expert, and her newest book, Success is Easy, Shameless, No-Nonsense Strategies to Win in Business. She hosts her own live events, bringing in thousands of small business owners and entrepreneurs to her workshops, specialty events, and online training every year. She's known and respected worldwide as one of the top business marketing and growth experts. She is highly sought after, motivational business speaker who has achieved success as a CSP, Certified Speaking Professional, by the National Speakers Association. And she's presented before thousands of people in 28 countries around the world. So, that's phenomenal. But the phenomenal thing that we're going to...
I got to stop you from all those kudos, because here's the big thing that people need to hear right now. Well, Debbie says success is easy because she's done all those things. But Yvonne, I didn't start there. I barely got through high school. My English teacher told me if I don't pass the next test, I'll be lucky if I graduate. And I'd love to tell her now I'm on book number 9, right?
Yeah.
So, all those doomsayers can be teachers, can be parents, could be anybody that's taught us the wrong way. I've started every business knowing nothing or little about it, very little income, very little investment. I mean, you could just check off the boxes. Never applied for a job in my life, never been to college, every reason in the world that I could be broke and unsuccessful. So I am definitely the person that would write this book. I believe in it.
Yes, and you talk about it. So, I mean, we see it behind you, but I haven't. And people need to see that I have marked off, and I will mark off more. But so I want to talk a little bit about. So in the beginning of the book, folks, one of the things that I marked was 3 steps to define success. And I underlined them. Discover why. I talked about that with another woman recently. Uncover your drive to move past obstacles. But number 3, I think, is a really powerful one, Debbie. It says, start by taking the first step. Tell us about your first steps at the age of 19.
Age of 19. And well, I got right out of high school, and college was not an option because I could barely get through high school, right? So my parents were not entrepreneurs as I was growing up, but my dad later in life had started a car rental business. And here we were right outside of Gary, Indiana, which is like a war zone, right? Yeah. We're in the middle of a drug war zone. I mean, Gary, Indiana is like the #1 place in the country for car theft. So, hey, why not start a car rental business? That actually made sense, problem solution. And so he started with 5 rental cars, and we went from there. And, the business is still there 50 years later, right? My brother owns it now, but my brother and I both started out of high school. And the thing about my dad is, like, he had these great ideas. He was a car salesman for 20 years, and then he got into renting some of the cars, and that's how he got the idea of this. But then he thought, hey, get my kids to work for me, and then I can go play. And so here we are, at such a young age, just like trying to learn this day to day, what's happening in a really tough environment with a tough clientele, really. But we didn't know any better, right? The thing is, if you didn't know any better and you had to do it, you just do it. And when I was 19, I said to my dad, I said, I want more than just a paycheck. I want to buy part of this company because it's going to grow. And so I bought into the business. My brother was given the business because he traded like a car or something, but I had to buy into it, right? Because he didn't really believe that women
right.
would be as successful as men. I had to talk him into that. Yeah. That I wanted to be part, right? And I could have 1% less than my brother because he never really believed women would be as successful. Partly his generation, got to give him that, right? And so I was always proving. I became like this workaholic later in life, and I realized later in life I'm still trying to prove to my father that I could be successful. I mean, I needed to learn to define my success way later in life. And that's one of the reasons that I put that in there, is like, even at 19, all I knew was I want to be part of this. Like, I want to be in the game. I don't want to get a paycheck. There was just an independent part of myself. I think I wasn't like born an entrepreneur or from those parents that knew that. I was just independent enough that I knew I didn't want to work for somebody else ever, even at that young age. And I knew I liked business. I loved business. I knew that I wanted that. And so my dad would just be starting new businesses and just throwing them in our lap and just telling us to run them. And we basically learned business from grassroots in a very, very tough environment. I mean, we were down in my early 20s. I'm repossessing cars in Gary, Indiana. Like, it's not a place to be hanging out in a bad neighborhood.
Wait a minute. So you went and took cars back?
Yeah, that's what I learned. So in early 20s, imagine, like, you got to do whatever it takes, right? And so that was instilled in me in such a young age. Do whatever it takes to make your business succeed. And that is like one of my core values, right? And everybody in my business that works with me, that are my team, they have to have the same core values or it doesn't work. If they want to make excuses, and it doesn't work for me, because I never make excuses. And that's one of the things you'll find in that book too. If you define your success and you know why you're passionate about it, you guys said the why, right? And then, what really drives you, what drives me is I love achieving. That's just my thing. I love achieving. The feeling that success gives you is like nothing else. It's not what it can buy you. It's not the monetary part. Yvonne, I was talking to so many people about what does success mean to you? And I would just interview all these people, and they would all say something different. And they would say, well, it meant this when I was younger, but now it means this, right? Because maybe it's more lifestyle or, freedom. And it's really, really important, because you either turn out to, like, you give up and say success isn't for you, or you become a workaholic, or you allow somebody else to define success for you when you have all this choice yourself. You don't have to put the pressure on it. It's like you put the pressure on yourself for what you want when, so you never have to feel bad. Like, someone never should feel bad that you say, well, I'm successful, but I'm not as successful as this person. Well, if that is what you wanted and you're happy with that level of success and you defined it, and there's some freedom and some other things around it and time for your family, then you're successful, right?
Yeah. So my mother ran a grocery store. We lived in the city, and it was the corner grocery store, and everybody went there for their milk and their bread and whatnot. And I used to have to work in the store. And I have told the story of how I didn't like it, Debbie. I am not a numbers person, and we didn't have fancy computer cash registers back then. And I was petrified of having to add up three or more items on a piece of paper. But when my brother got a little bit older, he came with me. He was 5 years younger than me. Well, he'd come and I make him do the math because he was good at it. But the thing I'm trying to say is that I learned so much and I didn't even know it. I
Right?
didn't even know it.
You didn't even know the things you were learning. And a lot of the lessons that I learned in business were things that you're not supposed to do. One of the items I put in the book is about being focused, having your vision, being focused, and not having squirrel syndrome like all over the place, right? With most entrepreneurs do, is because I saw my dad doing that. Like he would just start another business and then throw it at us, and start another business and throw it at us. But the two that he focused on the most, which was the car rental business that we grew to 250 cars, campers, all kinds of stuff, grew really big. Then the other one was mini storage. We were the first in Northwest Indiana to build a mini storage business, and it grew very, very, very successful. We built 2 huge facilities and sold those to a major company called Public Storage. So those he focused on, and we got those done, and they worked. And then all these other businesses, I can't even think of all of them. There's so many that he did. When he didn't focus on them and it didn't work, he would just give up and go to the next thing. And it's, what? He's 90 years old and he's still doing that stuff. He's still going, it's the next thing. He's still trying to get that next business thing, but when it doesn't work real fast, he'll give up. And the thing is, he had that amazing success on those businesses he focused on. And I saw that clearly. There was part of me in my young brain going, pay attention, you're going to have your own business someday and you're going to have to learn these things. And I saw my dad do good things, like he would go to the bank and they would turn him down over and over, like mini storage is a fad, we don't believe in it. And he just kept going, he kept asking and asking. And so, I learned to be shameless. I learned to ask, I learned to do whatever it takes. But these were lessons from, early 20s in business that were just kind of core values that kind of taught me like common business sense. And so when I was ready to go on my own, I kind of just took those lessons.
Yeah, I really like the word shameless, and you use it quite a bit. And talk to us about that, because it's one of the things that I try to convey to the women that come to me and that want to start a business, that they need to be shameless in their promotion, but they also need to recognize what they're selling. If they're selling themselves, guess what? Let's talk about how wonderful you are, because you're telling me that you're not, and I'm thinking yes you are. So how do they be shameless? How do they get there?
Well, shameless is like, tooting your own horn because you have something you believe in so much that you want to help other people. When you connect in your head and your heart together and you do it in a place of service and you want to just tell everybody about it because it's amazing, like the book. I want to tell everybody about it. Everybody should be reading it because I believe in it so much. If you're just trying to sell something you don't believe in, then you should be selling something else, right? So, one of my book partners said, page 91, ask for the sale. She said that was the one that resonated with her the most. Karen Mayfield, who writes books called Wake Up Women. It's all about women. And she said for her, all these books she's written, everything else, she still has a problem asking for the sale. And she's a great writer. She's done amazing business. And, I tell the story about how, what helped me ask for the sale the most, like if you're going to ask people a lot of money to invest in you, let's say it's a lot of money, then you need to go out and invest that much money in yourself. So what happened to me is when I went out and invested my first $20,000 into a mentor, really it was just basically events. It wasn't even really personal mentorship, but I put my money out there and I did it. And I said, you know what, that's going to keep me going to those events. That's going to keep me meeting people at higher level. The return on investment will just come from the people I meet. And you know what, it did. And what happened was it got me to say, if I'm going to invest in somebody else at that level, then I can ask somebody to invest in that kind of money to me. Because you can't ask somebody, if you're not willing to put out the money yourself to invest in somebody else, how are you going to ask somebody else to invest in you, right?
Right.
services. So I think it goes both ways. I think that you have to feel valued. You have to feel valued that you can invest, feel worthy of that. And you also have to feel worthy of asking for someone to invest in you at a high level.
Absolutely. So kind of what we're talking about isn't easy, and yet you say success is easy. And I really do love how you describe it in the book. And I loved reading that because I'm one of those people that, I was taught it was hard, so I thought it was going to be hard, so I expected it to be hard. And so right away, I put this obstacle up in front of myself. There's a rock, and I got to climb over it. Talk about how you decided to write success is easy.
Well, because I've done hard work. Hard work never does guarantee success. You can work really, really hard. People that work really, really hard, they're business owners. They create a business so they can work really hard, but they're barely getting by because they're just trying to do all the things versus, taking on a leadership hat and going, I need to delegate and help other people help me build a team so that I can grow to the next level. So working hard is not guarantee success. Even in a career, even in a corporation, you could work really hard and still not be noticed if you don't speak up and be shameless, promote yourself, do all the things. That still does not guarantee that you're going to be noticed or given a raise or a promotion. And so it really doesn't work. And I've seen my mom. My mom was also the other lesson. So my mom was always taught me the hard work ethic, and I can work hard when I need to, but I don't consider it hard because I'm doing the work, the effort to get the goal. So I never think it's hard because it's something I want to do that I enjoy doing, like marketing. You're saying I market the book well. I love that. I mean, it's creative for me, right? So when you're doing things you love, it isn't work. But I saw my mom like really hard work, and she could never really get ahead. In fact, I bought her her retail store that she had for 6 years, and she never really made any money at it. She worked really, really hard. She was there every day, did every single thing she could, but didn't make smart business decisions, didn't make the right strategic moves, take the right strategic action. So working hard does not work. Working smart does, and then success becomes easy when you take the right strategic action steps versus just being, okay, I'm just busy. A lot of people that are busy that are broke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, busy. It's easy to keep busy. And sometimes we make ourselves busy, like you said, at the things that are not going to benefit or grow our business. So tell us a little bit about your journey from these retail stores to speaking and becoming the consultant that you are today.
Yeah, so when I started the retail stores, I'll just start back from there, is that I didn't know anything about retail. Like I bought the store that lost money for 6 years, paid money for losing business. But I found mentors really early on. 6 months into the business, I got into this group because I was a sponge to learn. I was so enthusiastic. All of them had been in business 15 to 30 years, and I had 6 months experience. I was clueless, but they took me under their wing and they allowed me to fly with them. And I did everything they told me to do, implemented like crazy. And my business blew up. In 2 years, it was $2.5 million. That was just like my first store, right? So then I built and sold stores. So my goal was like, here's the entrepreneur thing, is you build to sell or you build to magnify, right? You got to magnify what you're doing. Like a book is magnifying my lessons, right? This will become an online course magnifying the lessons. And so, or you build to sell. So my goal for the retail stores was build to sell. So in 9 years, I was building and selling stores. When I was done building and selling stores, I said, what's the next thing? Is I've really been gifted these amazing mentors that have supported me. And I've been so lucky to have such success, and especially an independent retail clothing store. And so I went, okay, I would go to these shows and there was no seminars. And I would go, why are there no seminars? There's thousands of people coming. There's this huge show in Las Vegas, and there's no one teaching them to be successful. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all. There's so many of them that just get into this business because they think it's fun. Well, yeah, it might be fun, but you got to run it like a business. And so I said, I would like to do a seminar here. And I told one of my sales reps, and he was friends with the man that ran the show. And it was this massive show in Las Vegas. And I said, well, I'll fill the seats. I will fill the room, standing room only, prove to you that you need seminars. And when I do, you'll pay me to come back on a regular basis. And you'll also get me in 3 other clients. Now I wrote the contract out like that. He said, okay, so that's how I started it. And I got shameless. I would get on that shuttle bus in Vegas and I would do the trade show and pass out flyers, fill the room, standing room only. I did. That was my very first seminar. What do I know about filling a room? It's just that I was shameless enough to work it. I made an affirmation. I'm going to prove to you you need it. I'm going to fill the room. It was an affirmation. I spoke out loud. So I was going to make it happen. So I did. And that's how I launched my speaking business. And that was, just being shameless, getting it out there and then showing them they needed it.
And you discovered you liked it and you were good at it.
Yeah, I mean, I did it because I really wanted to help. I mean, I saw that independent retailers were going to be the Jurassic Park of our future if I didn't help, and then you can see it now. We flow in America with the same corporate stores, and we all love those beautiful, cute boutiques that we could go to that have the cool stuff and people know your name. And, that's the kind of business I ran in the 80s, and so I was like in the heyday of the boutiques, but you don't see many of those anymore. So my goal was just to teach people to be successful. And I have a passion for small business and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, me too. And I think that the book, I mean, again, back to, I said earlier when you and I were chatting, it's the Bible. It's the Bible, folks. You can consider it something that you would keep at your elbow on your desk, because there isn't just fluff. And I want to really be serious about this now. It's granted, Debbie Allen did it. She wrote this really great book, Success is Easy, and she teaches you how that is. And that's the part there. That's the word teaches. That's the word that this book doesn't just say, oh, hey, I went out and did this, and then I became this, and you can too. Not what it is. I really was absorbing the lessons and the advice, and that's what I want people to do, and that's what I'm advising here, folks. Go out and get the book. We'll have even more information. I'll have the link to the Amazon, a link where you can buy it. But Debbie, I mean, you've written so many books, and one of the things that impresses me about you is you keep giving back. I mean, this is a give back. This isn't just, I'm going to write a book and become a famous author. Absolutely not. This is exactly the kind of thing I think we need more of, not just for any entrepreneur, but especially women. So I want to thank you for that. But I also want to ask you, so what's next? Now the book is out. What's next for Debbie Allen?
Okay, so the book had a plan. I mean, you never write a book until you have a plan. And,
Go.
I wasn't going to write I have a New York agent that found me on a Google search because when you're an expert, they find you. You don't have to go pay for that. Right. So I've done a few books with her with major publishers, and she kept, turning down all the book ideas, titles I had. And I'm so glad she did. She said it wasn't edgy enough. It wasn't this and that. And it took me a whole year to get the right title. And then to get the right publisher, which was Entrepreneur, which was my dream publisher. They've just been absolutely amazing. Couldn't wish for better. But the thing is that, putting it out there, I wanted to really, be able to speak my mind, say it like it is. And I needed a publisher that thinks like an entrepreneur, that's edgy. And so I had to be able to say, not only is the title edgy, there's some edgy stuff in there. I tell you like it is. Like, I kind of slap you around a little bit, say, get over it, in a nice way, because I care enough to want to make it work. But the whole idea of the book had to be a business plan. And the business plan was, my last book, The Highly Paid Expert, was very successful with the business plan. It was turned into my workshop, the Highly Paid Expert workshop, my mentoring program. It fit perfectly. People read the book and they hire me as their mentor. It works absolutely perfect. Couldn't have planned it better. So when this book was being planned, and the agent kept saying, write another book, I said, well, I have to have the plan. So I was missing some of the big level keynotes, because I really walked away from doing the high level keynotes, the franchises, the big companies. And I really love learning about businesses. So I wanted to go back into doing some keynotes, doubling my keynote fee, which is already pretty high, doubling my fee. So the book will double my fee. I'll hand select the clients that I want. And I really do enjoy franchise companies. I like women's conferences, places where I feel like I can really make a difference. The reason I like franchises is because people usually buy a business, it's a system, but they don't necessarily know how to think like an entrepreneur because a lot of them came from the corporate market. So I like teaching them that model. And then women, of course, women being successful. I love any women's conferences. So I like to handpick those. So I needed a more general book that can relate to a women market, a franchise market, somebody coming out of high school, somebody going to college. I mean, it can relate to such a broad audience. And then I was ready to share like kind of my life stories and also sell, like you said, like tell stories. I tell a lot of case study stories about clients that I've worked with. I tell a story about my youngest client who's 25 years old, who was homeless when she was 13. Now she's worked with me. She's a national speaker. She's all over the place, very, very busy, telling her stories, a keynote speaker, and also a coach for teens getting into college. And she's done phenomenal. My oldest client is 89 years old. This summer, she just reached the Guinness Book of World Records for being the oldest woman to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. And that's in the chapter that is about lifelong learning, because it doesn't matter what age you are. You know, I had to tell Anne's story because Anne hired me as her mentor. You know, we built her website up. She learned paid speaking from me. She's come to every single class I've had for the last 2 years. Who learns at this age and then does what she does? Like, you know, so that just gives people to say, get out of the excuses. Here's stories. I don't care what age you are. I don't care, you know, if you've been homeless or what, you're too old to think you can hike a mountain. I mean, I've just pretty much put in stories in there that would say, when you read that, you go, man, I got to get off my lazy butt and get going, you know?
I agree. And I love that you said that the book was part of the plan. And that's what I want people to understand, is that writing a book is not, you write the book and then it gets put on a shelf and now you're done. And if that's what you're doing it wrong. Because the book should be a tool, and the tool should be to benefit your business, even while it's helping all these other people. So
yeah, not only helping a business, it's a legacy. Like somebody could pick this up, you know, 10 years from now, and it's still going to be relevant and probably even edgy 10 years from now, you know. And you're going to think about those books that really made a difference in your life. And I think about those books, and I mentioned some of those, and mentioned some of my teachers that I had in my life that were, you know, life-changing for me. And sometimes you just read a book that could change your life. And I talk about Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, who's my personal mentor in personal development. I read one book and I was going through one of the worst times in my life. And it was just totally life-changing for me because it was like speaking directly to me. And that's what I wanted this book to be, is that when you write a book, you need to speak to the reader. And there's enough different nuggets in here that can speak to just about anybody. And I thought about that when I was writing it, like who would be listening here? Who would be that person? And I really thought about the reader as I was writing it.
Yeah, and the stories. And I think a lot of women are afraid to tell those stories. They're afraid of offending someone or whatever. But, you know, one of the things I do is I teach them how to do that. But we've come to the end of our time, and I'm so sad about it. But I'm going to be promoting this. I will put all the links, folks, in the YouTube description and in the blog post. You will be able to get in touch with Debbie. You will be able to buy this book. You should buy several of these books because you want to give them out to your friends, because you know women today want to be entrepreneurs. We want to take back our lives and take charge. So this book, Success is Easy, should be your first step. You notice how all the tabs I have in it. Absolutely. There's going to be more tabs in it before.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff going. We got an event this month. We'll be hitting it off. And then December, we'll be in New York City. I'll be doing a huge corporate book signing. And then I'll be on Bestseller TV in New York City. And then in January, I have the world premiere book signing media event. It'll be here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where I'm at. So yeah, we're just starting to get this thing ramping up. So lots of cool stuff. And you're going to give the link for them to go get all the bonuses. So when they buy it online, I'm going to give them thousands of dollars worth of bonuses, because I got some pretty cool friends that gave amazing bonuses. So we'll give the link for that so they can go grab all the bonuses when they buy the book online.
I will do that right away. Again, I've been sharing that, but we need to be sharing that. And also, gosh, I'm going to want to keep track, because New York City isn't too far from Binghamton. You know, if you're going to be there, maybe I should be there. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Never know.
Debbie, it's been delightful. I can't thank you enough. This really is one of the best videos I've done, because you really epitomize what I'm hoping people will take away from it, is that it doesn't have to be this awful thing, this, oh, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to fail. No, 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 no. Read Debbie's book. Read Debbie's
Yeah.
book.
Anytime I can help your authors, help your women, you know, you got something coming up that you think about I can support, please reach out. I'd love it. I'm so glad we met, and I think the world of you, and thanks so much.
Thank you very, very much. And I will be in touch.